Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 9 to 5 Motor Alternative Fuel Energy Series. Today is definitely going to be a dynamic day of information and power, and most importantly, strategies and tips to be able to help you to be able to conserve energies in your vehicles. Energy conservation is a huge talk right now, so I would like for you to sit back and enjoy this wonderful dialogue and series with a dear friend of mine, Miss Yvonne Gamble, the CEO and founder of 9 to 5 Alternative Motor Fuel Company Incorporated, located right here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah!
I am so empowered and overjoyed to be here at the Atlanta Public Library here in Atlanta, launching our energy series on economic growth and jobs. We're going to have a great time today. At the end, we're going to have time for Q&A, and that's when I get to sit down and you get to ask me some questions. So let's move forward and let's see what we're going to be talking about today. On the agenda, we're going to be looking at the economic growth of the industry. We're going to be looking at the alternative fuels that are currently on the road, and we're going to be looking at the jobs that have already been created and the numbers of jobs that are actually going to be created in the coming years. There are four major factors that have propelled the industry: laws, mandates, economy, and the environment. I wanted to give you a nice, pretty picture of New York. This was January 17, 2012, a year ago. This is what it looked like. This is January 17, 2013 in China. This is what it looks like. It is now beginning to actually move into the Industrial Revolution with the increase of vehicles on the road, with the increase of industry. The economic growth of the industry can be seen. We're going to look at it from the biofuels. We're going to look at it from what the electric industry has brought in. CNG, which is compressed natural gas. You perhaps have seen this logo out on many of the different trucks and what have you. Natural gas vehicles, we're going to look at that. We're going to look at propane, how it is going, and then we're going to also look at the jobs that are created. These jobs that are created in this industry, they extend far beyond just the mechanical aspect. So let's take a very close look and see what the different industries have added to our gross domestic product in the different areas. Biodiesel, since coming on board as a mandate, as a law by President Obama that came in 2009 with the Recovery and Reinvestment Act, since that time, the biodiesel industry has put on the board, has put on the book some $4.287 billion that have added to that. That's just basically, that's right. That's fuel out of corn, fuel out of vegetable oil, fuel out of from plants, fuel from algae, anything that is grown biologically. Those are the things that are necessary to create biofuel. Odorized propane has generated $3.3 billion in wages since 2009. Let's take a look at what natural gas has done. Natural gas has added to the economic growth by way of $3.2 trillion. Natural gas, all these vehicles here that you see, government municipalities, United Postal Service, police departments, regular vehicles, light-duty trucks that businesses might use for their fleets or what have you, all propelled by natural gas, have added $3.2 trillion in 3 years. In 3 short years, $3.2 trillion, $19 billion in tax and royalty. They have paid their taxes. The GDP is going to reach well at $118.2 billion by 2015 and $231 billion in 2035. That's up from $80 billion in 2010. And that's what natural gas has brought in. So we're going to look at just which vehicles are actually out on the road. So who will be the winner? And this is a question that many people are asking: which one and what are we going to have as our alternative fuels? There's not going to be any one type of alternative fuel. You're going to have many, you're going to see over the next 10, probably 20 years, different ones are going to move up. And as you can see, when we saw how much money each of these areas are actually adding to our gross domestic product, we actually want to keep all of them, and we want to be supported. So now you have choices. When you go into the dealerships, when you look at conversion, you've got choices as to what type of fuel that you want to convert to. You don't have to choose just one. What's on the road today? What we're looking at is flex fuel is running about 600,000, natural gas about between 118, 115, and over 500,000. These three kind of play together, all in the natural gas, just different forms of it. Propane about 640,000, and electric about 757,000, which brings us up to the over 9 million that we actually have on the road today. Now let's look at the jobs that we got. The American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, that brought in mega millions and trillions of dollars for the jobs creation industry. There's about 500 million for training for small businesses, about $4 billion, and $40 billion in loans for renewable green energy generation and electric power. Biodiesel industry has added more than 78,000 jobs, and that's just, again, since 2009, since the actual Recovery Act came in law. The propane industry has brought in over 48,000 direct jobs and over 33,000 indirect full-time jobs into this industry. And they're growing by leaps and bounds because, as you can see, there were in the school bus system, and most of the school bus systems currently do not have propane generated, but they could have. In the natural gas, it's brought in about 3.6 million jobs. They're reported to bring that in 2013. They've already put in about 2.5 million jobs already, and so they're going to add an additional 3.6 million jobs in this year alone. Electric has brought in about 27,800 new jobs that have come in, and those new jobs that come in the way, obviously, of the sales of the manufacture of the vehicles, the sale of the vehicle, the infrastructure that has to go in with that. So again, electric is actually holding its own in place. So let's look at Georgia. What can you get right here in Georgia, right here at home? Right here at home, you get tax credits. If you were to be driving currently an alternative fuel vehicle, you would get up to $2,500 per year in a tax credit, dollar for dollar. Job creation, if you are a small business owner, which some of you in here are, every job that you create that has to do with the alternative fuel industry, you're going to get a tax credit of $3,500, dollar for dollar. Emission reduction, any of my truck drivers in here, any of my over-the-road drivers, any of my local semi-truck drivers, a 10% emission reduction is huge because you pay that every time you go across any divider that you see. You have to pay that emission charge. And that is a huge amount to have that 10% reduction in what your emissions charges would be. And along with the fact that you're going to be emitting